Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody, depending on where you are zooming in from. Welcome to today's very, very exciting session where we talk about matters health, how to live a longer, healthier life. And today we are especially privileged to have a very, very special guest speaker, a very, very busy doctor, very sought after, and it's really a privilege to have on this call today. So without further ado, I want to welcome Daktari Eseza to take us through today's session on insulin resistance. Daktari, karibu sana.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'll start by sharing my screen and introduce myself as we go along. Okay, let's start on a slideshow. The slideshow will work for me. Just a minute. Cool. All right. My brief today is to talk about insulin resistance. What I will do is, clear the page so that it is taken up by the slideshow. Right, my name is Eseza Nambasi. I am a medical doctor by profession. I like to say that by passion, I am a totally sold out near-life distributor, and I love what it represents. And so for the guests, you are most welcome. If I refer to near life, yes, you have been invited to a presentation to discuss insulin resistance, but also to tell you about what we've got in our family called the near life family. I am a mother of 3 adults and a grandmother of 2 delightful children who've been taken out to swim by their granddad. He sends his regards. And so let us get started. I've called this a different perspective on diabetes. You know, a lot of people wait for that sledgehammer to hit them on the head with the diagnosis of diabetes. But really, it is a process. To get to this point is a process. So, what is insulin resistance? Perhaps let's start there and define it. It is the consequence of eating too much sugar and refined carbohydrates. Insulin resistance is inability to keep blood sugar levels even and stable. So those are the 2 words to remember, even and stable. Blood sugar that is too high will result in excess of it becoming converted into fat for storage. And then when the blood sugar sinks too low, one feels lethargic. So I'm sure each of us has seen people who, after a meal perhaps, suddenly become very lethargic, very tired. Or we've seen people who may have more weight storage than they should. But the final result of insulin resistance is diabetes. Associated with insulin resistance, we might need to know stress. High levels of stress hormones, particularly cortisol, which is described as diabetogenic. Otherwise, in other words, it causes blood sugar levels to rise for a particular reason. And then exposure to environmental hormone disrupting chemicals that can be found in places like pesticides, plastics, and day-to-day usage products that we have around the home. Estrogen and synthetic progestins are also a source of this insulin resistance causation because of the disruption to hormones, and they are used in hormone replacement and in contraception. Then I wanted to highlight this point. Our food supply sets us up for insulin resistance, big, big time. And in order to promote milk production, as an example, cows are treated with bovine growth hormone, and that can lead to all sorts of hormonal disorders. Insulin growth factor is supposed to be produced in us during childhood, and as we grow older and older, there should be less and less of that growth factor. However, meat and milk products with insulin growth factor that has been added can cause insulin resistance, resulting in several diseases. And we are also referring to children who might develop insulin resistance as a result of their diet. Now, let's look at the role of blood sugar, the role of excess blood sugar. And one can say one word about it: inflammation. Okay. So examples of conditions due to insulin resistance, and I've just put them in a few points, but you can expound on those points. Okay, overweight and obesity. It can be a manifestation of cardiovascular disease or diseases, which can include things like stroke, heart disorders, blood vessel disorders. It can result in even dementias. That is a category on its own. And then infertility. Linked to this are things like polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS. Even fibroids might be thought to be originally as a result of insulin resistance. And then a big chunk are autoimmune disorders. And now the modern thinking is that many cancers are actually a manifestation of autoimmune disorders. So just in case one wonders, did you know that high sugar diets are correlated to increased risk of Alzheimer's? That's just what we've said about dementias. So many of us have seen and are becoming alarmed. I'm one of them who's alarmed at the way our men folk are becoming pregnant. Okay, I don't want to make light of it, but let's just talk about belly fat. And that collection of visceral fat in the belly, in the abdominal cavity, is actually a spillover from accumulation of too much fat in the liver. And because there is space in the belly, it just pours into the belly. But what it really is, central adiposity, what it really means, and this was done by a professor at Stanford University who said this, that insulin resistance, this is a clear indicator. Central obesity is a clear indicator of insulin resistance. And, you know, we doctors like to treat things, and we really fell on the cholesterol story and have whipped it to bits. But the solution to this problem of insulin resistance is not reducing cholesterol medically, but rather keeping blood sugar stable, something I mentioned a few minutes ago. So here are some almost random points that I want you to think about. Diabetics cannot convert carotenoids to vitamin A. They just do not have the capacity to do that, the capability. And then also, diets of processed foods are zinc and also magnesium deficient. Okay, right. So those are some points to ponder. Let's just think about something else. We know that free radical production greatly increases when blood sugar is high, even before there is a formal diagnosis of diabetes. Now, that is something to think about, because as I said, we were trained as medical doctors. By the way, I've been a doctor for 40 years, hey? So I have found great liberty in saying quite a lot of things about how we are trained in our profession. And yeah, we were trained to wait for people to arrive with a diagnosis, and then we would make the diagnosis, all right? But often that is very late. So you have in this situation free radical production, which has been going on for a long time, which if you are observant, and this is what I'm encouraging you by saying this, a lot of people may have skin manifestations that are so obvious. We call them age spots or aging pigmentation. This could be a telltale sign for pre-diabetes and therefore insulin resistance. Now, let me finish this point and then I'll talk a little bit about what insulin actually does. Okay, vitamin E deficiency is more prevalent when blood sugar is high and with obesity. So those are things to think about. And if there is a vitamin E deficiency, and we've talked about A, and we'll also talk about D, those are the fat-soluble vitamins that are really not being absorbed. Now, insulin, for the guests, is a hormone. And hormones are created in glands within the body, and then they have their effect in all over the body, in other parts of the, throughout the body, let's put it that way. Now, insulin is very special. It's quite an important hormone because it facilitates the absorption of nutrients into the cells. Not only sugar, but also fat and protein. And those nutrients trigger the production of insulin from the pancreas. So if there is resistance, it means that yes, even if there is insulin present, if the cells at a cellular level are incapable of utilizing that insulin for whatever reason, and the reasons are many, then nutrients cannot go in well, and then the body is forced to produce more and more insulin. Why? Because the cells are registering that there is hunger, there is cellular hunger. And so the body tries to create more insulin because it is a feedback mechanism that is telling it that, yeah, there's something not working with this insulin. And that is what has been described as insulin resistance. But now, what are the causative factors of insulin resistance? And that's what we want to discuss. But before I do that, we are living in an era of fast foods and convenience, and it's time that we realize that maybe the situation of insulin resistance can be a choice that we are making. So please, let us limit foods that look like this and go back to foods that look like that. And even among those foods that look so beautiful, we have to be aware that some foods have what we call a high glycemic load. But let me discuss the fact that a lot of people have tended to say, okay, to treat this is to not ever touch carbohydrates again. And that has become quite a popular way of thinking, where people go on meat-only diets or ketogenic diets. It's a good strategy. However, I just want to liberate our thinking and say, yes, there are different types of carbohydrates, basically because we need them, such as leafy and colorful vegetables, then fresh fruits and nuts and seeds and berries and sweet potatoes, yams, pumpkin. But if you see this pyramid, you can see that the good ones are up at the top, and then as it goes narrower towards the bottom, the ones that actually spike insulin higher nearer the bottom of this pyramid. But having said that, the picture I showed just before this was that we should go back to eating normal, good food as we know it, because we need the fiber and we need the phytonutrients in there. So now I want to talk about 5 steps to approach fat burning. We have said that one of the mechanisms is that too much sugar gets converted to fat and it is laid down, right? So we need to have mechanisms to burn that fat. And one way is to eat the right kind of carbohydrate to achieve a better blood sugar balance. You might find that that picture that is on there, it's an apple, but it could be something else like cassava, or it could be a yam, might help rather than something that is ultra sweet, like grapes or processed carbohydrates in bread. Then eat only low glycemic load carbohydrates, precisely what I'm saying, and eat them only with protein-rich foods. That way, they balance each other out, and the insulin that is triggered is not going to be such a big problem because of the balance that you're giving your body. And then also increase amount of essential fat. Not too much saturated fat. You are allowed to eat some, but make sure that you're getting the essential fats. And that's what we want to share with the guests, what we have in our supplement programs. So I said there were 5 steps here, 4 and 5. Cut down on stimulants such as alcohol, chocolate, cigarettes, coffee, tea. All those affect both energy levels and the ability to manage weight and to control weight. And then point number 5 is eat breakfast and then have a few or no snacks between main meals, the main meals being breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm hoping that we can have a discussion after this, so I'll try and finish quickly because I want to hear your opinions on some of these issues. Low glycemic index fruits and vegetables make good snacks. Precisely what we said, things like nuts and good quality, low glycemic fruits. Then important, remember to hydrate. You know, a lot of people develop insulin resistance because they are hydrating inadequately, or when they choose to drink something, and I'm sure you know somebody like this, they will reach out for a fizzy drink, which is highly sweetened. They have no idea how much sugar is in there because of the way they are prepared. And just observe and advise that maybe it's not a good thing. So here are some more points to ponder. Do you know that high levels of sorbitol, and sorbitol is a sugar alcohol that is formed in the body in response to high blood sugar. That leads to cataracts, retinal damage, damage to the back of the eye called the retina, and it can lead to kidney damage. So as insulin resistance carries on and other byproducts of too much sugar happen, then slowly but surely there is damage to those organs, the eyes and the kidneys and other organs as well. Then another thing to think about is that, you know, some diet foods that are sold commercially have added sorbitol. And this point is to highlight the importance of reading labels, please. Avoiding processed foods and strictly sticking to whole foods, like what I showed you in that picture. Now, I just want to talk about vitamin C specifically and to say why it is super important. Vitamin C builds up rather prevents the buildup of sorbitol in red blood cells. And vitamin C, together with flavonoid complex, markedly reduces formation of cataracts. And then, this is an important point, there is competition between glucose and vitamin C for transportation around the body. There's that competition. So if there's too much glucose from the diet, then unfortunately the transport systems will take around the glucose and vitamin C will not be absorbed. Vitamin C helps the body to make collagen. Again, very important. And maybe you will now connect the age spots and the appearance of an aged skin to high blood sugar, which can be an indication of insulin resistance. And I just put at the bottom there that please beware of synthetic forms of vitamin C. You want to have a vitamin C that is made out of real food. Now, I would like to look at specific solutions to the challenge of insulin resistance. And I just want to keep reminding all of us that it doesn't affect people out there that you might not even know. It might be impacting and affecting you, the listener to this presentation. Each one of us needs to be listening up. Right. Let's talk about the importance of exercise. Do you know it is very important in managing insulin resistance and generally the way the body handles blood sugar? You do not have to be fanatically fit to lose weight. It is more important to optimize your metabolism. In other words, the way the cells use nutrients and actually get rid of the waste. Effects of exercise are cumulative, which means please do your exercise consistently. The amount of energy used in exercise depends on how fat or fit you are to start with. In order to get good results, again, just be consistent. The fatter and more unfit you start with, the greater the benefits with a little exercise. So that little green box is just to encourage us. A lot of people say, I'm not going to exercise. I am just too tired, which is one of the ways insulin resistance manifests, fatigue. But make a start. Start small and then build it up. So moderate exercise, we now know, actually decreases appetite. And if we connect those dots, it is too much sugar that is in the diet, which means that the appetite is very high, that will lead to insulin resistance. So doing some exercise will help to reduce that high appetite. Then further on the importance of exercise, some physical activity is necessary for appetite mechanisms to work properly. The most important reason for exercise is its effect on your metabolic rate. It actually increases the metabolic rate maybe 8 to 10 times above the resting value during activities like running, cycling, swimming, which is good. After which, vigorous exercise increases the metabolic rate, which remains elevated for up to 15 hours post-exercise. So there is a school of thought now that as you exercise, choose your exercise regimen or the ones that you choose carefully to incorporate some vigorous exercise and also some relaxing exercise. Some people end up doing too much vigorous exercise, really stressful to the body, literally, such that they remain in a heightened state of cortisol and other stress hormone production. And now that goes counter to what they're trying to do to control their weight. And that's why we see quite a lot of people who over-exercise, gaining weight instead of managing their weight adequately, and thereby developing insulin resistance. So this is all about balance, balance, balance. So this picture is just to depict that, yeah, let's do it communally. We are a family that believes in community, in the Neolife family. So you can get together and exercise together, and remembering also that exercise is for all ages. So now I'm going to change tack again a little bit. What is the most important first step to address to have an overall lifestyle overhaul and in the process manage your insulin resistance or avoid insulin resistance? And there's the answer: mindset. Your choices do matter. And very often we ask the question, are all supplements equal? You know, out there, people haven't heard about this family. And so they rush out because they have heard somewhere, maybe on a TikTok or a YouTube video, that they need certain supplements. They'll go and buy them over the counter. Now, I'm just putting this in here just to remind you that you have been invited, if you're a guest, to look at the best supplements that your money can buy. Then are all detergents the same? Does it matter what personal care products I use or you use? Yes, all those questions are very pertinent. And I just have snuck in here a verse that for me is very significant. It's found in Deuteronomy 30:19. God is telling us, literally, that He, God, call heaven and earth as witness today against us, you, us, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life, that both you and your descendants may live rather. It's about choice. Even God tells us what to choose, okay? And to me, that is what insulin resistance is about on a daily basis. If you're presented with two things to eat, which one are you going to eat? The one, obviously, that won't cause you to run into trouble. So I want to bring to your attention why Neolife says what it says. And we are told that there are 3 success habits. The first one is habit number 1, which is use your products. And one might ask, why is that so important and significant? And I put there a basket of cleaning products. And I'll just tell my story in a minute. I was looking for good cleaning products that were non-toxic, 100% biodegradable, economical, that would be a bonus, obviously, and the ones that I could use in my household and around my children. That was so important to me because, trained as a medical doctor, I have become increasingly alarmed at the side effect profile of lots of the drugs that we were being taught about, and we were expected to go out into the world and prescribe. So I became so disenchanted. I said, I'm going to go beyond reading about side effects and also read about the chemicals that I was buying on a monthly basis and bringing into my home. And I tell you, I freaked out. I literally freaked out. So I went on a quest to look for safe cleaning products. And I thank the Lord every single day that I was introduced to this company, because the first thing I saw were that these non-toxic products that were not going to irritate my children or disrupt my hormones were what I wanted, and I changed everything in one stroke. And that is just to say that if you're still using those other laundry products, you know, you wash your clothes and wear them during the day, but then your bed sheets have the same fillers, hormone disrupting chemicals called obesogens. And those are the foundation of insulin resistance that remain in your clothes and are absorbed through your skin. The skin is very, very absorptive. It absorbs a lot. And that is the beginning. That is really seriously the beginning where you should start to look to change. Because once you can get rid of the root cause of any situation, then you are going to win the battle more easily than if you always still have a constant supply of the hormone disrupting chemicals. So I want us to make a promise to ourselves. Just make this as your own promise to yourself. When you choose to take greater responsibility for your health, that you are looking to rejuvenate yourself, to revitalize your body, to renew your cells so that you can regenerate the ability of the cells at that level to be insulin responsive and not insulin resistant. Very, very important. And the body is forgiving if you make that decision. So in summary, these are the things that we have to look out for. What are you eating? What's in your diet? And then one thing that might cause insulin resistance is if you're not sleeping adequately. That is for sure, because then stress levels remain high and that can lead to insulin resistance. And then we've talked about exercise, very, very important to exercise, and I've gone to town on that one. Stress management. I touched it in the exercise that choose your exercises carefully so that you're not stressed out. But over and above that, are you stressed out in your job? Are you stressed out because perhaps you do not like all your neighbors around you? Okay. And what is your source of stress? Deal with it. It's not easy, but it is not impossible. And as a community, I've explained that we are in a family that is a community. We like to hold each other accountable and to help each other to become healthier. And for the guests, our vision is to make the world healthier and free of financial stress. So yes, let's work together to manage stress, and that way we will beat insulin resistance. It is an intentional mission that we are on. And then supplementation, very, very, very important, because our diets are devoid of quite a few key nutrients and we need to replace them. So that's what I'm going to focus on for the next few minutes. But in summary, control intake of carbohydrates, choose your carbs carefully, don't overeat. Overeating can be stressful, and supplements are important. Introducing to you the Scientific Advisory Board. These are the scientists that do all the hard work on our behalf. The board was founded in the 70s by Dr. Arthur First, who was a top toxicologist and pharmacologist and cancer researcher, who declared that a lot of the cancers that were being seen could be avoided through good nutrition. And obviously, some people were not very impressed with that statement. So he found somewhere else to go. And we are forever grateful that in the 70s, he came and established the Scientific Advisory Board of Neolife, which had already existed since 1958, the company Neolife. So we have experts in their fields, some of whom we have met, and we can rest assured that we have the best products, both supplements, nutrition, and cleaning and skincare. And that is why Neolife does the way business the way it does. Because in order to avoid insulin resistance, you need to take care of all the bases. They have taught us about cellular nutrition, and a healthy cell should be able to let nutrients in and allow products of metabolism or toxins or whatever you want to call them out of the cell. Unfortunately, because of lifestyle, because of diet, because of toxins, toxic exposures, and nutrition inadequacies, cells become unhealthy. With the aging process as well, that could happen faster. So the solution is to replace what has been processed out of our foods. And what's that? Whole grain oils. You know, at the turn of the century when the Industrial Revolution began, they had to take out grain oils in order for them to be able to mill the grain and package it and put it on the shelves in the shops so that the millions of people who had moved to live in cities could have food. So the bread and the rice and all those grain that we are eating today do not have the fundamental nutrient called grain oils that are there to feed our cells. And in so doing, when they are available, would enhance energy and improve nutrient utilization efficiency by 50% or more. So that's when TRNN, which you will only find in this family, came to be. It is part of the core nutrition. So I want to describe this concept of core nutrition, which is central to our nutrition program. And it is by Neolife that you get to hear about core nutrition. It is essentially grain oils plus other products that, other nutrients that work in synergy with the grain oils, plus all the amino acids that make up the protein out of which we are made and out of which insulin is made as well. So I have an argument that insulin resistance could be actually a form of protein malnutrition, because if all the 22 amino acids are not available, it is quite possible that there is not the right insulin being made, and therefore there is resistance to whatever is happening. So this is a picture of the Pro Vitality. As you see, it has the TRNN, it has omega-3 salmon oil. We mentioned that it is important to get the right fats. These are they. The TRNN, omega-3 salmon oil, and then you need to protect those fats as you protect the cells in the body with antioxidants out of fruits and vegetables. We call it carotenoid complex. It's a spectacular product only found in this company. And then, of course, there are vitamins and minerals. And then part of the core nutrition, very, very important, is the Neolife shake. So important. I've mentioned all 22 amino acids. It gives you fiber as well, vitamins and minerals, and 18 grams of protein per helping. Now, I want to focus on this so that we can understand the genesis of insulin resistance and, in fact, how to overcome insulin resistance. Okay, if you were to eat ordinary food that we like to eat, it triggers insulin, and insulin will shoot up, and then all the glucose and the blood sugar that is floating around will be helped into the cells, and then the blood sugar will drop. And then you feel hungry or lethargic. And then you eat something and up it will go again and then down. And then you eat something else and up. And so you spend your life literally on this roller coaster. And as you grow older, the poor little cells of the pancreas cannot cope anymore. And that is when you are declared diabetic. But it has been a process. I've mentioned this already. What the Neolife Shake does is to keep the control of glucose in that zone that we call the glycemic control zone. And what you have is a controlled glycemic response. And that is how to overcome that vexing situation of insulin resistance. So the shakes are clinically proven to deliver results. They will help to manage weight. We've said that is key in insulin resistance. It will reduce body fat by that percentage, 10% body fat reduction, thereby lowering your body mass index. And the results are you protect your heart and your brain and everything else, and you balance your cholesterol levels. That is what that professor at Stanford was talking about. So let's now look at some targeted solutions. You know, we always start with core nutrition, just shown you that, foundation products, then you add targeted solutions. So let's talk about that now. What we need are some fat-burning vitamins and minerals. We need to encourage fat burning. The ability to turn food efficiently into energy instead of fat depends on hundreds of enzymes, which in turn depend upon vitamins and minerals. It is essential to consume optimal amounts of zinc and vitamin B6 to make insulin. Those two are very important for insulin production and utilization. Insulin's ability to control blood sugar levels requires chromium. This is important to stabilize blood sugar levels and therefore helps with weight management. So on this picture, I've put everything I've said. We need vitamin B in our family. We are given it as a B complex. It is complete with all the B vitamins. It is made out of food. And this particular one is sustained release. In other words, you take one tablet and it will be slowly released over 6 to 8 hours. We all know that vitamin B and vitamin C are water soluble. So other brands which are not sustained release will not really help as much as what we have in this family. And I've pointed out the value of vitamin C already, right? And then magnesium and zinc are very, very important for the function of insulin. Then let us look at this product. I've dubbed it today's star product. It will support glucose balance. It is called Botanical Balance. In it, there is chromium. Then you have cinnamon extract. Cinnamon, which is a natural product. I remember when we went to Zanzibar recently for the impact, I actually saw how cinnamon grows on a tree. I was totally fascinated. And then it has curcumin extract. It has turmeric powder and alpha-lipoic acid, which is a cellular antioxidant. This is what will really clinch that challenge, manage that challenge of insulin resistance. I have a story, a personal story about this product. You know, I had always battled with weight management, despite being healthy, despite doing everything else right. But over the years, I realized the older I grew, harder it was becoming to manage my weight. And then Neolife brought us Botanical Balance. I have a policy, I go on the products as they come out. I started this one, and I must say for my age, I'm doing very well as far as weight management and energy levels are concerned. I attribute it to good insulin management in my body because of no resistance to insulin. And then let us talk about phytodefense. I just wanted to bring out what peer-reviewed studies done on the role of flavonoid which is in fighter defense and works well with vitamin C. Blood sugar balance, cellular health, cognitive health, eye health, heart health, immunity, skin health, sports nutrition, weight management. Everything that we have pointed out goes wrong when there is insulin resistance. So I just wanted to point out that within fighter defense, we have flavonoid complex, which you can get on its own, or you can get it within this pack. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We are on a mission to make the world a healthier and happier place. It starts with you. Do not wait for the doctor to tell you that you are now pre-diabetic on your way to diabetes, as a lot of people are doing. Become responsible, become proactive, and take on what we have to offer. For the guests, please turn to the person who has invited you here and let us have a good chat. Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing. Frederick?
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. That was powerful, short, sweet, to the point, and very, very informative. And just like you have said, guys, you have a chance to ask a few questions that Dr. can then proceed to answer. I saw on the chat here already there's one or two questions which are already here. Maybe we can tackle those ones first. There's somebody who says, wow, this is informative indeed. Do you have supplements that can reverse organ damage, like kidney due to diabetes? Maybe we can start from there.
Okay. All right. You know, one of my slides actually said that what you need to do when you take responsibility is to promise yourself that you will use these products consistently, not to wait for the challenge to hit you before you take action. What I'm saying is very, very important. You know, a lot of people will ask that, must I really take these things? Alternatively, a lot of people will literally wait for a prescription. Wait for a prescription. Look, I'm trained down that road of writing prescriptions, but I just want to free you up, each one of you, to say you do not need prescriptions. We can give recommendations, okay? And as you use the products, they will be regeneration, revitalization. Having said that, don't wait until you get to end-stage kidney disease or you are pronounced in end-stage renal failure before you take action. And I've seen that over my 40 years of practice, that people wait until they're feeling something. That is actually not what Neolife is encouraging us to do. And that's why we say, use your products. Start using your products and keep using your products. And that's why for the guests who are on the call, there is a business opportunity, because that is another objection. That how am I supposed to afford these things? Are you telling me that I must spend all my money on these things? Now, I told you my story. I was looking for good cleaning products. And I discovered them in this family. And I also discovered that they were saving me so much money. That is the logic of this system, of this company, of this family that we belong to. That you save in order to afford what is going to help you to avoid disease processes. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Maybe, Dr. CoQ10, would CoQ10 play a role on this?
Yes, CoQ10 would play an absolute role. I didn't want to go too much into too many products because it leaves us feeling confused. It helps with the mitochondria. Now, CoQ10 is an excellent product. It's another one that helped me to clinch my weight management, and therefore insulin resistance was dealt with. What it does, it works in synergy with TRNN, very much on the same principle, but it goes straight to the mitochondria. Now, mitochondria are those parts of our cells within the cell that do the work of the cell. In other words, they make the energy and help. They have genetic material, they have DNA, they have what we call ribosomes. Ribosomes create protein. So if there's insulin to be created, CoQ10 will enable the mitochondria by nourishing them so that they can create that insulin. And yes, it is very, very important. As I say, this wasn't exhaustive by any means. I just wanted to keep it as simple, but it is important, yeah.
Because of the person who was talking about repairing the organs.
Yes.
Then there's somebody else who is asking how he can get the product. Talk to the person who invited you. He'll be able to connect you to Neolife. You can become a distributor and you can be able to access these products. And like Daktari said, start doing Neolife as a business, start making some money, then you get to afford the product. So lack of money is not an issue. Some of us came to Neolife when we didn't have money to afford these products. We made the money, now we can afford the product. So become a distributor, make money, buy the products, and start using them. Okay, then the other person is asking, somebody has made a comment that it's important for guests to know that eating well is the first point of call. A customer complained that they were not getting results until they discovered that their diet was the problem. Maybe you can comment about that.
Okay. Their diet was the problem. I think I spent quite a big chunk of the presentation talking about that. Maybe they were on too many processed foods, high carbohydrate, but the wrong types of carbohydrate. And that's why I took time to say we are allowed carbohydrates, but they better be the right ones, the ones that don't come with labels and chemicals and additives and all that and are processed. And even among the natural ones, choose carefully. If you know that something is going to spike your blood sugar, be careful. But I did say that it helps if you pair. Yeah, this takes a lot of intentionality. Pair your carbohydrate with a good source of protein. And example, legumes, okay? Those are good kinds of carbohydrates, but they are already paired with a good protein within them. So choosing carefully what you're eating is what we need to do. But then, remember, I spent quite a lot of time talking about exercise, yeah? That is so important to manage your appetite and to manage your ability to use the sugar that you're feeding yourself or the nutrients that you're taking in so that your body can fine tune. You know, we are made so wonderfully and amazingly, fearfully and wonderfully made. So your body has to have that mechanism of fine tuning utilization. But importantly, make sure that you're using TRNN or all the core nutrition so that your cells' sensitivity to insulin is heightened. I hope that answers that one. I saw somebody who asked another question. It flashed by so quickly about kidney failure. I think
Yes,
I just want, yeah, you know, we need to change our paradigm, the way we are thinking. We need to learn how to think. And this is why, as a family, we need to go out there intentionally and conscientize the youth, conscientize parents of children who might be saying, well, our kids are not sick, so why must we spend all this money? conscientize them that the reason for doing what we need to do before problems start is precisely so that we are not in a desperate situation with on dialysis. I see a lot of people on dialysis, by the way. We don't want to get to that level to start saying, let us now use these products. That's when you start saying, I wish I had seen this opportunity 5 years ago. I've done a webinar on, I've done a teaching on kidneys, yeah? And again, my message is the same. Prevention is better than waiting to try and fix a problem. Because remember that we are not machines, but having said that, our bodies can be quite forgiving, okay? Quite forgiving so that if you are consistent and patient and really intentional, you can begin to reverse some of the damage. All right.
Fantastic, fantastic. That is very, very true. In my experience in your life, I've seen people actually reverse and go back to operating normally. So I totally agree with you, Dr. there, but it takes time. I think the key thing is that it takes time. You have to be consistent. You cannot take supplements for a month and then hope that you'll be healed automatically. I've seen that to be a challenge with many people. You get a condition, you've had it for 10 years plus, maybe it's diabetes or pressure or something else. Then you take supplements once and you hope that miraculously within a month, you'll be back to where you are before you got the condition. But it doesn't happen that way. I may be a layman, but Dr. you can correct me on this, but it does take time for the body to rejuvenate. And you actually very well put it step by step where you say that the body can actually finally rejuvenate itself after going through a process.
Okay. I'm not embarrassed to say anymore that I've been in near life. Next month in March, I'll clock 30 years. I've been using the products consistently. I tossed out the cleaning products on my first order, the ones that I had been buying previously, the ones that are made, famous brand ones. Threw them out. Did I waste money? No, no. Whoever picked them out of the bin, probably you found some use for them, but I was not going to allow toxins that were impacting my cells and therefore ability to utilize nutrients and to use insulin properly to remain in my house. I've never regretted it. And yeah, some people really think I'm too harsh. But that is a decision-making process that you have to make for yourself. You can't expect good results and yet you are refusing to change something. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Right.
Wow.
Fred, 5 o'clock.
Yes.
6 o'clock.
I think you're done. You're done. Thank you so much, Dr. for that wonderful, wonderful session. We've really enjoyed it. We've learned a lot. Guys, let's go out there. Let's make it happen. Let's put what we have learned into practice. Let's share this. The recording will be out a little bit later today, so you can be able to go through it again and share it with a friend, a neighbor, a relative. Join us on this journey of making the world a healthier and happier place. And remember, just like Dr. said, the best place to be is to be a member of Neolife. Become a distributor, even if it is just for buying your own products so that you can get the high quality products at a discount. You can do the business later, but first take care of yourself and your family, protect yourself from disease, and also change the lives of people around you. And I tell you, it will save you a lot of money. It will save you a lot of hours in hospital, and you'll also get to make some money. If you want to know more about money and how you can become rich, courtesy of Neolife, how you can travel the world, tomorrow at 8 o'clock, Pascal Olo will be on this call, and he'll be telling us how can you become a member of Neolife, how can you grow, how can you change your life, how can you achieve your dreams. So with that, I want to wish you a restful Sunday evening. And just a last word from Daktari, and then we can close.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm always honored when I'm invited, and I've really enjoyed you. You're a very good audience. Let's make the world healthier and free of financial stress. Thank you.